The NFL's 100th season set to kick off in just one day, and who better to talk about that than NFL Hall of Famer, Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, who's with us here at Post 9 after ringing the opening bell with Comstock Resources here this morning at the NYSC. Jerry, thank you for coming by. It's great to see you.
Well, it's great to be here on the floor of the stock exchange. I feel like I'm having breakfast with George Washington and right down the street from many of the great names of our history.
Yeah. We were just talking off camera. Today's a day of news with your two loves, which is football and exploration and production. Let's first do Covey Park and what Comstock's buying here. What's the story?
First of all, the way I bought the Cowboys was my career and the money that I've earned from being involved in oil and gas exploration, particularly gas. And Comstock has one of the best positions of leases relative to the cheapest place, I would say, in the world to get gas to the market. I'm a big believer in what natural gas is. And I've always believed that the time to get involved is when things are low. That's the way I bought the Cowboys. The Cowboys were losing $1 million a month, and I bought 15% of the Cowboys from the FDIC. A lot of people don't realize that. Well, before that, I'd gone in the oil and gas business when it was low, and geologists were going to work selling shoes. And so I've always been a little contrarian in my approach to things. So this is the time to do it in the natural gas business, and I've spent roughly $1.5 billion over the last probably 36 months investing in oil and gas.
What do you think it's going to take to turn sentiment around on exploration and production?
Well, I want to, through Comstock, I would say, look at what we've been doing, look at what I've been doing. I understand some frustration with investors. That's not what's been happening to me. I've taken millions of dollars and invested it since 2017, and I've turned that into 2 and 3 times my money. And we're doing the same thing with Comstock, and they've done a great job with Covey Park and acquiring a lot of leases. These leases are right in the pathway to the great markets of the Gulf as far as natural gas is concerned. And so that whether it's a ball team or whether it's a piece of land in North Dallas, in this particular case, natural gas, that gets my attention.
We want to make it clear, you've put a lot of money in here. I mean, what, over $1 billion at this point?
I have. As far as over the last 40 months, I've invested over $1.5 billion in gas prospects, drilling, producing wells, and am continuing that kind of aggressiveness. In my mind, this is the time to do it. Now, it's very important that you keep the cash, you keep up with the drilling, or you keep up with the
But how much of it is
expenditure.
dependent on the price of the actual commodity starting to trend up, or is this really, even if we stay where we are, you believe that
any
you can actually...
Any commodity has market sensitivity. On the other hand, natural gas for energy is our cleanest fuel. Plus, we have opened up, since 2016, we have opened up the markets of the world to natural gas. That's why I'm here. Someone asked me, are you looking at the waiver wire so that we can make sure we've got our roster put together? Yeah, and at the same time, I'm looking out the other corner of my eye at a good place to drill a well.
Speaking of rosters, what does signing Zeke mean? What does this extension mean for the team, for the season, for getting past the division, all of that?
Well, I just turned my pockets out upstairs. It means I'm $100 million lighter as of this morning. But seriously, Zeke has been arguably our best player. I'm not trying to be unfair to anybody else, but he's an incremental part to our success. We're glad to get him booked in. We're glad to have him on the team. He plays a position that has some pretty interesting dynamics to it, because running backs are short-lived, although we had what I consider to be one of the top 5 greatest ones in Emmitt Smith. And Emmitt ran the ball for 13 years, so you don't have to have a 4 or 5 year career to be a running back. On the other hand, Zeke allows us to create such problems for the defense that then we can open it up to our passing, open it up for Dak Prescott. Of course, we got to have some guys on defense to get those guys the ball. That's what this is all about.
Can we say that Zeke is better than Emmett ever was? Yet?
Oh, no, I don't want to say that. Zeke wouldn't want me to say that. But I will say this. They both have a lion heart. And believe it or not, Bill Parcells used to give lectures on just how lion-hearted a running back has to be. They're continually taking the pounding. They continually have to gather it up and go some more. Who could forget against the New York Giants, Emmitt Smith running with a knockdown shoulder to win that game when we had to win it, to go to the playoffs that ultimately led us to a Super Bowl. Zeke has a big heart. Now he's got a thick pocketbook, too.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first 9-figure contract for a running back.
Yeah. And
what do you say to those who tell you you're overpaying?
Well, first of all, I would say that anybody, when you're talking about that kind of money, we're all overpaid, if you really wanted to look at it that way. For what he has done, how he's worked, how he's utilized his skills, then he's in the marketplace of where we are in pro sports and pro football.
Jerry, what do you think it's going to take to get a streaming NFL deal for games that are tentpole games, like a Sunday night on YouTube, Amazon, something beyond what we've seen already so far?
Oh, I think that we're in such a world of change, if you will, on how we present our games. You know, when I first got involved in the NFL, content to me was what's in a popcorn box. It was popcorn. The word content, what is that? Well, content, as it turns out, was about what goes on that television. You know, the NFL's interest culminates in the fourth quarter of the year. No other sport has its hot time. That's Christmas and Thanksgiving. That's when you want those decision makers in front of that TV set. And then we have natural breaks. They're called huddles. They're called stoppages. They're not intrusive, so that we can put many messages up there at the same time. And then more important than anything, the NFL, and I'm talking about content, whether it's on or off the field, in season or out, there's a soap opera going on every day. It's a gift to television because it's constantly on the forefront of attention and interest.
And those contracts, of course, have greatly added to the value of your franchise and to the value overall of the NFL. I'm curious how you view the next one coming up. I think CBS is a couple of years away. Do you think there's going to be a lot of competition from players we haven't typically seen in terms of trying to secure those rights?
Well, I think that we have a history of a collective bargain agreement. That means the players and the clubs agree on how much dollars, what percentage of dollars are going to be there. For almost the last 10 weeks, about every Monday or Tuesday, I've been in Chicago or parts nearby negotiating with the Players Association about our future labor agreement. We all know it would be better to get something done now than 2 years from now when you could possibly have work stoppages, because this would allow us to have a great platform of continuity, an agreement for years, that we can go to the networks and address this streaming, address what our game is going to look like on that tube. That's why we're doing it. That's why the players are doing it. We're all working hard to get a deal done.
Still, NFL ratings have been a little soft in recent seasons. I mean, do you think that you can grow broadcast television ratings in the U.S., or are we at peak football?
That's such a misnomer that our ratings are soft. They're the hardest thing there is in all of television viewing. In general, all television has depreciated, the viewership. It has, if you will, it has gone to those handheld, it's gone to other areas. And of course, the NFL wants to be a very substantive part of the alternatives to the traditional television screen. But on the other hand, a funny thing happened. The more the percentage of fans or the percentage of viewers watch all programming, the more valuable the NFL has gotten, because we are where you can get the guaranteed highest percentage of the decision makers in this country in front of the set. So just the opposite. The idea of where we are with our viewership is so much stronger than when I got in the NFL in 1989 or when Fox came in the early 90s. We're really in a very strong position in time.
Do you think we're past the kneeling controversy, and would you have done anything differently looking back?
Well, I think that we all recognize the social issues. I would have never dreamed when I got involved with the Cowboys that I would be addressing bullying or I would be addressing these social issues. But then I stop and think about it. If we're going to get up and ask everybody to look at us, when you turn away, wait, get back over here, look at us. If we're going to ask this country to look at us, then along with that comes the responsibility when we get it done, we have all those eyeballs, when the country says, help us out a little bit on social issues, use those platforms to help us as a society. So I have a different view, let's say, than I had 20, 30 years ago when I first got involved. Where I think that we are is that we are evolving in our understanding. We have always, the Cowboys are where we are. Everybody knows where we stand. But on the other hand, what I want to be sure that everybody understands is how interested we are in helping that first responder be safe. How interested we are when we have unjust, if you will, unjust circumstances that really are unfortunate. We want to have the NFL be a part of making sure that we're doing everything we can to help those areas. Now, you can't arm wave. If you could solve all these problems, you'd be God. You can't do that, but what you can do is try. We have a lot of visibility. We have huge numbers of fans. We want to use all of that to help these social issues where we can.
There are also health issues. Jerry, Andrew Luck retired last week at 29. He cited pain and injury. How worried are you that people start walking away because of health concerns?
I just want to be sure that we talk about the whole story. I had a long career through college. I played for 5 years in college, and so that very aware of the kinds of health issues that after you've done that, then when you're 77, which I am, how you feel, how you walk, how you think. One of the most concussed players that have ever put on a helmet in the NFL is Roger Staubach. He's my age. Together, we are building one of the greatest real estate developments right now you can have. My point is, there are a lot of examples where those lives that played this game have actually, as they have gotten older and older and older, there are a lot of examples of people who didn't play the game, men and women, who have limitations. Just the balanced story that are out here. The facts are that as far as health is concerned, NFL football players are the healthiest group on the planet. NFL football players. We're talking cardio, we're talking they're in power condition. Makes sense. They have kept themselves in competitive condition all that time.
Sure.
But as a group, the healthiest group on the planet.
Jerry, please come back next time. Congratulations.
Thanks,
Scott's
guys.
Responded to some of your comments
Thanks,
as well.
guys. Well, let's ring the bell and buy something.
Jerry Jones
you,
here at Post 9.